Let's focus on your relationships with multinationals, and let's talk about GlaxoSmithKline, referring to them as the GSK transactions. I see that in all your verbiage. Why have you decided to go the partnership route with these multinationals?
I think that the industry has, you've got to find, where we are, you have to find partners. If you want to go global, you have to find partners. And there's two types of partners from where we sit that we look for. There's partners that give you good market entry, and there's some partners that are very good in development, and have good intellectual property. The people that have good intellectual property, a lot of them are based in Asia and India in particular, and the way you might deal with someone in India is very different to, say, maybe some of the way you deal with someone in GlaxoSmithKline. Why Glaxo? Well, I think Glaxo is it is a very reputable company. They saw the opportunity of partnering with us in South Africa. They said our model works, it's a great model. They think the Aspen model is wonderful, and they thought that Glaxo and Glaxo people, more importantly, were better off in an Aspen environment. We don't have waves of products coming off patents, it's not retrenchments, and South Africa is a small market like that. I've often said historically that many multinationals need to find local partners. I think GSK just moved quicker than the others.
Have they offered to buy you out?
I'm sure that if GSK wanted to buy out Aspen, they could buy out Aspen out of sort of petty cash. This is a story. The issue for, and that would be a decision for shareholders to make. If you're asking me on a personal level, I'm very happy doing what I'm doing, and I love doing what I'm doing, and I'm not sure that, well, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't fit in a company, in a very big company, if I didn't have the latitude that I currently have within the Aspen environment. So I'm very comfortable with the deal as it is structured now. Personally, I wouldn't like to see it shift around a bit, but sometimes I get confused between my shareholding and who actually owns the actual shares in the business. The Glaxo business also offered us a very big opportunity to the rest of Africa. We bought Shelley's Beta. It was a smallish business, that's $40 million, but it takes an inordinate amount of time and effort. I've got South Africans in the factories, running sales teams. And I thought, if I've got to replicate this across Ghana, Nigeria, I'm going to be stretched too far. GSK offered us that opportunity. They already had the distribution network. And the final part of GSK was they were also able to give us some products, which gave us some global credibility. So we bought 4 or 5, say, oncolytic products for them, which is for cancer. And we've got a pipeline of products in cancer. So we were able to go into Brazil. People in Brazil don't say, oh, hello, hi, I'm from Aspen in South Africa. They look at you, oh, you're from the World Cup place, They don't know who Aspen is, World Cup.
You've got a whole new branding element coming into.
Correct. Now they look and say, oh, we know this for Glaxo, oh, big company Glaxo, shareholders Aspen, oh, very nice company, multinational company, we expect to pay more. This is a branded company, quality must be important. So Glaxo gave us a lot of strategic opportunities and benefits. And I think from their perspective, they really didn't want to divest out of South Africa or Africa, but they knew that their money was probably better spent inside Aspen. So I think it was a deal that worked for us and worked for them, and it's panning out that way so far.
Let's focus on those opportunities on the sub-Saharan continent and what effectively you are seeing with your partnership with GSK. You have had some issues in terms of exports, given the fact that ARVs have become generic in that territory, and that's impacted margins. Yes.
Now that part of the deal is not included in with GSK. That's the South African export business. So in that deal is our collaboration with them. They've got their 260 reps out there. And what we're doing now is, and we're doing a lot of work now, is registering dossiers across sub-Saharan Africa. There must be nearly 500 dossiers or more that we're putting in. When I say 500, so not 500 different products. There might be 10 territories taking 50 products. So we don't want to stretch it or exaggerate it. But they're very big in some key markets like Nigeria. And those markets need careful handling, and I've learned so much in terms of how you manage counterfeit medicines, and there's some very big risks. This is not trading, this is not trading in South Africa, and they've come across these challenges. They've managed them. They've packaged their products differently.
So the products are actually counterfeit.
Oh, within Nigeria, there's no doubt about it. A lot of products come out of China as counterfeit products into those markets, and so it's where you don't have strong regulatory bodies. People have to place an inordinate amount of trust in the brand. So you might walk into a regulated market, say, I'll take any generic, I don't mind, because I know the FDA has approved it. And it's a tight regulatory body. But in some territories, there just isn't a regulatory body of any consequence. So then you can only say, well, okay, that's a product, and it's an Aspen product, or it's a Glaxo product. I can take it.
But then how do you create that awareness in these territories?
What we did was we acquired a market leader in East Africa. But GSK have established themselves as a market leader in some key territories in Kenya, in Nigeria, and even in French West Africa. They're right up there within the top 2 or 3 companies. So what we're doing is we've really piggybacked off their branding by taking GSK Aspen Healthcare, for you see a GSK logo and Aspen logo, and in time what is going to happen is that pipeline, because we have a far more relevant pipeline for Africa than GSK has, is that more and more products that will flow through that distribution will become Aspen products.
But are you looking at a discerning audience or no, discerning customer in that territory now, given the fact that, are they familiar with the Glaxo brand?
They are, and they now are familiar with the Aspen. Aspen has a, well, it is a multinational, but it has a very positive perception in the rest of Africa. Aspen is well perceived. And next to and our branding sits right next to the GSK branding on the boxing. You've
made it very clear you're not looking to be bought out, that you love this industry. Where are you wanting to take this group?
It's not about money, so it's, they probably could offer a ridiculous price, and that's fine, and I'm sure the business would be sold. I've seen that before, even when I started with my initial partners. In 3 to 5 years, it's an IPO, and then we're all out. And I've seen it a few iterations, and I've always ended up staying here. And where would we like to be? I think we've got potential to be a top emerging market pharmaceutical company in the world, and absolutely a company, because we've set our quality standards so high that any multinational can walk into our factories and these are unbelievable. But at the same time, we've got our cost of goods at a level that can keep us competitive, even with our Asian competitors.
I'm coming back to what drives you. You've just said it's not about the money. What is it? Is it recognition that you want to be the very best, the very biggest?
I think recognition from a public point of view, no. If I didn't have to be listed, I wouldn't. If I sit through a board meeting, I always say to Gus, Deputy, I say, Gus, I'd rather be sitting talking to the sales managers and people running the business than hearing another lecture on King Report 1, 2, and 3. So I think what drives me is the people around me and watching people grow from no confidence to, and I went in with bravado. I wasn't certain we could be as successful as we were. And I even told the trade union before I brought them, this was before there was BE. The guy told me, you're an asset stripper, and I said, Muzi, listen, I'm not that. I'm going to be here till the end, but I can't make you a shareholder until I see where we get to. And then when I saw a plan, we included them. But it's that type of thing, is to have everybody in the business pulling. So the people on the floor all own shares, have all scored from the plus in Aspen, and so when it was unheard of that anyone in South Africa could possibly get an FDA approval, it wasn't anyone. Suddenly we got there. People that were shy and scared and nervous suddenly have got confidence, and now you're watching them deal with regulators. The last FDA inspection, I forgot to find out how it went. I won't even bother to tell me. It was just a fait accompli. It was going to be fine. The first one, I lived every minute of it.
Well, it's very clear that you live every minute of your business.